Welcome in to Go Big or Go Home, where you find all of your Big Ten sports news and you dabble in NCAA news. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Oh, no, I'm just kidding, youngster. There's just no news going on in this world of college sports. We're doing our pregame. Like, our pregame production show is probably going to be longer than our actual show today. I don't think that's ever happened in the world of our show.
No. And I still think our show will surpass the time, but
Well, we can dabble with some food. We can throw food in there. We can throw COVID in there. We can do all kinds of stuff to get time, but I'm not just going to sit on this end of the phone and say, hey, yeah, let's, what are we having for dinner? You know, what do you have for a snack? There is literally like no good, juicy Big Ten stories to talk about. And there's really nothing nationwide, just little tidbits here and there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's stuff that if you're very interested in the school, then it's like, oh, okay, that's an interesting headline to read. And you might not even click on the article if you were to look at the topics of, you know, what's going on in the Big Ten right now. It's like you said, there's no big, juicy things going on.
The big thing is that there's players testing positive for COVID.
Yeah.
Dabbling here and there, this school. And I said it last week. I don't care. I really don't care that Michigan State had 2 more players test positive for COVID. I am well beyond this.
That's expected, though. That's the thing. It's more interesting to me if 117 Michigan State kids test and they're all negative. That'd be interesting to me. More than 2 out of, you know what I mean? To me, I expect it. And maybe I'm
little onesies and twosies here and there. Oh, well. Now, if it was half the football team, okay, there might be a problem there.
Yeah. Clemson had 21 kids test positive the other week. And it was like, damn, that's a lot. Like, at the end of the day, we're still months away from the football season. If they all recover, they certainly have time to, you know, resume their football activities. Like, it is what it is. It's just an eye-popping number to look at. But yeah. I want to add
this, youngster, because everybody gets all worked up. Oh, these players are testing positive for COVID, right? So I have not known anybody personally that has COVID, but I've been doing a lot of research, like every educated American. And for a young kid, it may not take 2 weeks to recover. Like, yeah, they got to quarantine so that it kills off the virus. But maybe they just have a fever. They may not develop any respiratory problems. They may not develop all of these other symptoms that we hear about that cause death. Because they do have good immune systems. Yeah, they could be asymptomatic.
Right.
That's why I'm not trying to make light of it, and I'm not saying it's not important. But they're college kids, and I know they can die from it. I'm not naive to that. The thing is, they're testing them, they're catching the positive test, they can monitor them. They're not sitting around thinking, not knowing they don't have it. So they can actually be proactive about it and not spread it to anyone else. Yeah. I'm getting sick. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing about one thing and 2 things and blah, blah, blah. But that's all I got on that. I'm not mentioning COVID the rest of the show. Not even in a joking term.
Yeah, just for me to close it, I mean, again, it's surprising to me if 100 Michigan State players, coaches, whatever, test and none are positive. That'd be surprising to me. So, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Another thing, another quick tidbit, kind of based on COVID. Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren, who, again, this is his first true year of being in charge of the Big Ten. He says the current plan for the football season is to start on time. So, nothing's changed there. I know the other week, I think it might have been 2 weeks ago now, they put into place hey, kids are going to start getting back onto campus. We're going to start having, training camps and whatnot, or voluntary workouts. So that's just, I guess, the latest of that is that nothing is changing as of yet. Like the NFL said, okay, the Hall of Fame game, that's not happening this year. Okay. For
whoop-de-doo.
No, right. But at least that's a game getting canceled. Like for the Big Ten, it's just like nothing. So that's what we were talking about. I mean, with topics and, can we go into
to be honest, I think in college football, they're sitting kind of in a good situation because they're going to allow schools to have their student athletes back on campus. They're going to be able to practice. And then they're going to be able to watch this Major League Baseball thing that's going on. Like NHL and NBA, they have core cities, so they're not traveling. But Major League Baseball, they have said that they're going to limit the travel to one city. So, for example, I lived in Pittsburgh, I now live in Wisconsin. So the Brewers go to Pittsburgh, Kevin. They can only make one trip to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh can only make one trip to Milwaukee. But there's still travel involved. So I think the NCAA is able to watch and see what's going to happen with Major League Baseball when they actually let their teams travel. Is it going to cause a spike in these players getting COVID? Oh, I mentioned it again. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. But I think the NCAA is going to be able to monitor the travel of Major League Baseball because they're the only league not having the hub cities. And so the NCAA, if that works out, I don't think you're going to see a big change in the scheduling. However, you could see change in scheduling due to the topic that you want to talk about Michigan and what they're reporting as an estimated loss. Because without gate receipts, without that money, some of these teams may not be able to travel. So you could see that happen. I thought that was a pretty good segue into your next topic, my friend.
It was perfect. So for the 2020-2021 academic year, aka this coming year, that fiscal year, Michigan is Ward Manuel, the athletic director at Michigan, is projecting a $26.1 million deficit for the athletic department. So they're not making money, they're losing money, and they're losing $26 million. How much does that actually mean to Michigan? To put it into some perspective, their operating expenses estimated around $162 million, and then their revenues estimated around $136 million. So, that's, you're talking about a $26 million deficit, and for Michigan, I know it's Michigan, and, making up $26 million in general, in life, no matter who you are, is not a snap of the finger unless you're a billionaire. But at the end of the day, like, this takes out a sixth, like, you're losing a sixth of what your expenses are. That's a lot.
It's a lot. And I know that, doing this Big Ten show, and I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, so I know there's a lot of jabbing back and forth between Michigan fans and Ohio State fans. I'm sure Ohio State's going to lose money too. I'm sure Wisconsin's going to lose money. I'm sure they're all going to lose money. It's just, the thing is, you have to remember, taking away all of those gate receipts is huge. I don't think people realize that. They're like, oh, just play without fans. Yeah, you know what? That's great because we get to watch college football. But now we're going to get into the hairy. And the hairy is Michigan just came out and said, we're going to be $26 million down. Give them 6 home games, Kevin. And where will their operating expenses be? They're probably not going to make money, but they're probably going to be better than $26 million in the hole, especially when you can jam 100,000 people in that stadium.
Right.
That's 600,000 people times what's an average ticket cost? Do the math. 600,000 people. Just say $50. Say $50 times 600,000. If I'm doing my math right, that's what, 30 million?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Or is it more? I'm not a mathematician.
30.
I'm a sports talk show host.
30
math
million.
is. So there's 30. Not that they get to keep all that.
Right.
But that would be part of everything that goes into that operating budget. Plus, no fans mean no concessions, no apparel at the stadium, no parking. All of these things. And the economic development around the stadium in each of these cities. Like Camp Randall and Madison. They get a home game, and think of all of those venues down by the stadium that are not going to get any patronage during home games. It's crazy.
There was a number that came out about Tuscaloosa, where Alabama's, their stadium is. And I'd have to look it up. But there was a number that came out, and it was a few. How do I want to put it? I think it was over $10 million. They're anticipating losing because, again, of not having 6, home games. Maybe it's 7 for Alabama this year. I have no clue. But point being, the whole city, it sucks for sure.
And so I'm not going to cry for Michigan. I'm not going to cry for Michigan. But I'm going to cry for that guy that owns a corner pub by the stadium that can't pay his bills now because there's 6 home games that are not going to draw fans. And I'm going to cry for maybe like in Eastern Michigan that doesn't get the revenue. Maybe cry for a smaller school because we don't know the economic downfall for some of these smaller schools. We've mentioned it on the show a million times, and I'll just want to finish this, youngster, because I'll forget. And we've talked about it a million times that these cupcake games that I make fun of every season, I make fun of them, and you know that, and I don't watch them, and I can't pick these spreads because they're so outlandish. But these teams don't care if they go to Ohio State and they lose by 100 points. Because when they leave Ohio State, they're leaving with a big fat check that pays for their whole year of athletics usually. I mean, they're getting that kind of money when they go play a big-time school like that.
Over $1 million.
It's just one of those things. So go ahead, continue with your point.
Some of these smaller schools, they've already cut some athletic programs. Like I can't give a specific example, but I'll just BS one. Like you mentioned Eastern Michigan. It's like Eastern Michigan having to get rid of men's volleyball because they know that they just can't financially keep up with it. They have to get rid of a couple sports. So it's, it sucks if you're a men's volleyball player at Eastern Michigan, because your school now cannot afford to keep the sport because you can't go to Michigan to make $1 million. Or even if you don't have one of those monster games, you're still losing out on, again, 6 home games. So, it's definitely, to my knowledge, there aren't any football programs that are going under because of this, but there are other sporting programs that have gone under because of this at smaller schools. So it's obviously impactful.
Yeah, it is, and I think I do think we're going to see some football programs cease for this season. I really do. I mean, you look at those that listen in all the time know that I ran a college soccer program for a number of years. Okay, now my budget is nowhere near a Michigan. It's nowhere near a football budget. But even a soccer program at a Division III/Division II school, youngster, I still needed cash. I still needed funds. And where do those funds come from? Yeah, we did some fundraising for soccer, but I submit my budget, and that money's got to come from somewhere. Well, what sports in Division III pull in money? Football and basketball. None of the other sports at a Division III school pull in any money. Soccer was free to go to. You know that at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. You get in the game for free. Get into a baseball, softball game for free.
Yeah.
What games had tickets? Basketball and football.
Right.
That was it. Everything else was free admittance. Well, where does the money come from in a Division III program? Boosters, the school, state school, Where's this money coming from as we move forward? And I'm having the trickle-down effect. I'm not talking just Division I right now, youngster. I'm talking Division II, Division III. Yeah, we look at a Division III. We look at our old school, UW-Whitewater, great football program. That stadium is always packed. Granted, they're not bringing in millions of dollars like Michigan, but you pack that stadium at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, youngster, that's a nice little bonus check for the athletic department.
Yeah.
Now there's not going to be anybody there. Do they have to cut golf? Do they have to cut swimming? Do they have to cut other sports? Maybe. The money might just not be there. This is going to be a trickle-down effect in every division, not just Division I. I really believe that, because the money's got to come from somewhere. Now, you might have very nice boosters that decide, hey, I'll give you a little extra money. I'll give you a little extra money. Or people that haven't been giving money before, they start to give more money, or they give money. Yeah, that could happen, but that's not going to make up the whole deficit of not having fans in the stands and all the economic impact that it's going to affect for each city. So I'm curious to see how it affects all of those other things. We know we're going to have our college football back, and that is great. But while we're watching this and as we're doing our show, it's going to be interesting to hear about the financial side and the financial ramifications around the business side of it, because a lot of that's not being talked about. I'm glad Michigan came out and said we're going to lose $26 million, because it's a reality. It is a reality that this COVID has caused and will cause economic distress among these programs. And some people out there might say, who cares? Well, education cares. Because I will throw this out, because I had a mini discussion about it, something about this a couple months ago. If that football program doesn't bring in money, Kevin, and it's losing money, you might start getting academic programs cut too, because it operates as a whole entity. And the football program at a Michigan, at an Ohio State, yeah, they got basketball and they got other, but football drives that university.
Yeah, unless you're like Duke, Kentucky, maybe Michigan State basketball, Kansas, like those schools' basketball programs, they actually make money. The other ones, you're just hovering around.
Well, what are they going to do in the winter, Ken? We don't know if there's going to be fans in the winter.
Right. Yeah.
There could still be no fans in the winter.
Yeah.
Then these schools are really, you know what?
Yeah.
Whew.
I hear you.
I get a little passionate about the economic side of sports.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I want my college football back. I do. But I'm really starting to maybe grow a conscience in my old age. Like, I'm feeling bad for these universities. I really am. And I'm feeling, and not necessarily just athletics. That's what I'm saying. Being in a college program and being part of one for a number of years, I understand how athletics drives the whole university. We want to say, and we always talk about student athletes, that's great. And we say, well, this and this and this. But those athletes drive the success of a university. And Kevin, you want to know what? Even our great school, University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, yes, enrollment and all of the student body keep that school running. But what does athletics do? It drives some success to the school. If you have a successful football program, football players want to go there, right? They want to go there. Hey, I'm good enough to play.
Here's an example, Troy. Like, I had to look it up to make sure, but UW-Whitewater, I would say it's fair to say on average for home games they bring in like 10,000 fans per game. And so if you assume, even if it's $5 a ticket, I don't remember what it was, but if it's $5 a ticket, that's $50,000 every home game times 6. That's $300,000.
It's more than that, youngster. I think it's more than that.
I think it might be 10.
It's like 10 or 12 bucks.
I thought it was. Yeah, but even at 5, that's an extra $300,000 every year. Okay, so $300,000 you can spend on marketing for the university, which helps bring in enrollment. like like I remember while I was at UW Whitewater, they spent like it was $10,000 or something on a statue. And it's like, really? That's what you're spending your money on? But at the end of the day, if you make the campus look better with statues, with a litter fountain in the middle, with whatever, and it appeals to a kid's eye in high school, it's like, hey, it actually looks pretty cool there. And then you do a little more research. It's like, yeah, I want to go there. You can catch someone's eye. Or with, any amount of different marketing that you can do for the university, because the football program helped bring in $300,000 thanks to home games.
Or a new building for one of your academic programs, a new biology lab, a new computer lab. Like when I went to Whitewater, I'm really going to age myself. We still operated on a mainframe. Like there was literally a room in the computer building with a mainframe in it. We had to hook up to the mainframe. Yeah. So as technology progressed, youngster, away from that mainframe, what did UW Whitewater have to do? They had to stay with the times. They had to get new computer labs. They had to redo everything. That's $300,000. Now, granted, it wasn't $300,000 coming in when I was there, but that money would go toward being able to do those things to stay in line with technology. Biology, You got a good medical program. What are you going to do? You need new labs. You need supplies for these labs. So, yeah, that money trickles across the university more than we know. A lot of times as sports fans, we just see the game and we're like, oh, this is great. Oh, man, college athletes need to be paid and blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what drives that? The fans going into the gate. The fans going into the gate drive that, and there will be no fans in the fall. It'll be interesting. I think we beat it to the ground, youngster. What else we got today?
Yeah. Quick little tidbit. Kobe King is not transferring to Nebraska. I think we brought it up on the show before that he was planning on transferring to Nebraska, but as of a few days ago, he's not. So due to personal reasons. So that's there's nothing else to expand upon there, but he's not transferring to Nebraska.
Yeah, nothing at all.
So
he'll be done anyway. That's the way that it works. All right, youngster, I think we wrapped it up. We weren't. Our show was longer than our pregame, so that's good. I'm not sure next week if it will be, but we will move forward and we will get a show to our loyal listeners. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Forward the youngster, I am the old man. Make sure you find us on Twitter at Youngster Old Man for the links to all of our shows. Have a good week, everybody. Stay safe. We'll talk to you soon.